Now we got where we publish if we are going to publish. Yeah, it's one of the things to talk about. That's gonna be a problem.
I thought about the same thing.
I can't take any calls on that.
Yeah. That is a problem.
I'm good to go, Chris.
Interesting. Morning, everyone. We call to order the April 15th meeting of the Madison County Board of Commissioners. I'm Chris Wallace. If everyone would introduce themselves.
Tony Sneakers. Rob Swain, your county administrator.
Oh, boy.
David Kell.
Nick Atkins, prosecutor.
Rhonda Mayer, assistant clerk.
Kevin Weaver, engineer's office.
Amy Grace Clark.
Right. We have received a copy of the meeting minutes.
Moved to approve the minutes.
I will second. And the first and the second. Any other discussion? None heard. Roll call, please.
Dr. Sneakus?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes. Mr. Atkins?
Morning.
Morning.
Okay, there are a few things I wanted to run through, but be brief. And the first I wanted to touch on was the notice from the Madison Messenger that they're closing, and that was pretty much effective immediately. I've received a significant amount of communication from county departments and agencies as to how they should handle public notices in the future. And I'm working with each of those individual agencies to try to get them opinion, also doing a little bit of research on my own and talking to the Prosecutors Association. What's difficult about it is that when you look at the notice requirements for different issues, there's a lack of consistency. And I'm talking about what is required statutorily for the publication. The typical requirement is that an issue be published in a newspaper of general circulation within the county. I've previously looked at this issue for no other reason than pricing, and that was a few years ago. And the case law I found was that it's sufficient if the newspaper delivers to the county. So the dispatch, that will qualify, a newspaper from Springfield that delivers to Madison would suffice. There are certain situations where it's more specific than that. It's more specific than general circulation, within the county. There are also situations where it's less strict. So anything that goes through the civil process, anything that's filed within civil court, the civil rules of Ohio specifically allow for publication in an adjoining county if there's not a newspaper within that county. I'm looking though at, a perfect example are like share sales and auditor sales. These specifically are required to be published within that county in the newspaper in that county. One of the things I'm looking at is other rural counties that have the exact same issues, seeing what they do. Unfortunately, it's not one answer fits all. So I'm sure we'll continue to deal with this in the coming weeks and months as topics come up. But I was just spitballing off the top of my head and thinking of the publication for amendments to zoning or vacation of an alley, and every issue like that has their own provision for the ORC. It's going to be a difficult issue as we move forward. Any questions or thoughts on that? Okay. I did send out an email last couple of days. I sent Rob and the engineer's office. We had talked about those factors that would be applicable to granting or denying the permit for the right-of-way use. I just put together my thoughts. There's probably somewhere between 12 and 15 factors, and it's just kind of a starting point, a framework for what to consider. What came to me as I read through the Attorney General's opinions and case law. So get it from Rob, take a look at that, and if you want to talk more, just let me know.
Very good.
The last thing I just want to say is the Sheriff's Office, in conjunction with Gaming Commission and Franklin County Sheriff's Office, executed some search warrants last week regarding illegal gambling within the county and adjacent counties. A couple of individuals were arrested and charged with those offenses. The investigation's ongoing. One of the things I want to say to you, though, is that a lot of contraband was taken from these locations. That was intentional because these entities have operated in other counties. After they were charged, they literally just picked up in a different county and started operating it again. And so the equipment was confiscated, and we've stored those in a county building and worked with Rob Slang on that. So I just want to say the sheriff's office was very appreciative because we're talking about several truckloads of equipment, and it made it go a lot easier. So I know the investigative department was very happy.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. Mr. Kell?
I wish I had silent. Just working on a few projects, currently, and something else, note from public right now.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Anything on behalf of the engineer's office?
I just mentioned that, the county engineer and I have been touring the county with the townships here over the last week or so, and checking road conditions and establishing what we're going to be trying to work on for the coming year. So there will be some additional information coming about that at some point in the future.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Bertrand?
I've pretty much saving everything for next Tuesday when most of the February so.
Very
I
good.
don't have anything for you today.
All right. We get a cup of coffee.
Bruce.
No.
Contraband, I was like, it's not gonna stop enough for that.
I've been out there. Where I'm headed, Saturday, they've got, some video of bobcats on trail camera.
I seen one here, man.
Got a turkey. On trail camera.
I seen one in Madison County about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
No one believed me.
Oh, yeah. They,
I don't disagree.
yeah, there's
I
been,
believe you. I believe you.
yeah, I don't know if I've heard of any sightings in Madison County, but over in Bigway, Fayette.
It was, the one I seen was crossing 665 by Mike's place,
Mhm.
and there's no mistaking it. Anyway, I know what it looks like, and I know what the dog looks like, and this was no cat and dog, it was what it was.
It's like badgers, so you know, we have a few badgers that are in the county.
Wow.
Well, there's not, it's a legal sounding areas, the bobcats.
And the thing is that in that general vicinity, somebody told me that they heard this god awful howl, and they didn't know what it was, and it's like, well, could be that.
Yeah. Pretty much, pretty sure I heard one time. Waterfowl, so the evening, we were just about to shut down and get up and start picking up decoys. And there was, it wasn't coyotes, it wasn't anything else. It
And
wasn't
the
all,
funny thing about it, the biggest deniers were my boys.
yeah.
Way, they're like, way.
Didn't see what it was, but it definitely wasn't anything that I'm familiar with, and I spend a lot of times in the woods.
No sure.
Bigfoot,
Hmm,
I
Bigfoot.
smelled
Yeah.
them once.
don't start it. It was on Deer Creek though, when I heard it. I think it
That's where I smelled the Bigfoot.
was on Deer Creek. Sure wasn't yours, though,
Yeah.
But it's not.
Bigfoot.
Musky, woody. We're talking about Bigfoot, so.
The way you looked up and looked at it, I thought it was some shit.
You are pretty tall.
Yes. I'm glad we're recording all this.
Yes, I hope the people on YouTube are enjoying the conversation.
Yeah.
Amy, if you would, please.
A resolution approving the payment of invoices for the Madison County Auditor.
So moved. Second. First and a second, any other discussion? None, roll call please.
Dr. Sneakus?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
A resolution increasing appropriations in the amount of $325 for the annual filing fee certification to the Madison County Health Department.
Move to approve.
Second. I have a first and a second. Any other discussion? None heard. Roll call, please.
Dr. Sneakus?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
A resolution accepting the expedited type 2 annexation petition of 81.69 acres from Deer Creek Township to the village of West Jefferson.
This, by the way, is expected, it's a profit related.
So moved.
Second. I have a first and a second. Any other discussion? None heard. Roll call, please.
Dr. Sneakus?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
A resolution approving the satisfaction and release of a mortgage for Nellie Elkins, Steve A. Elkins, Christine Elkins, and Cherie A. Thornton. The chip.
So moved.
Second. I have a first and a second. Any other discussion? None heard. Roll call, please.
Dr. Sneakus?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
A resolution approving the proposal from Quest Associates for painting services at the Common Police Courthouse.
So moved.
Second. First and a second. Any other discussion? None heard. Roll call, please.
Dr. Sneakus?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
A resolution approving a transfer of funds from the mandated January through March 2025 county shares to children's services, public assistance, and child support.
So moved.
Second. First and a second. Any other discussion? None heard. Roll call, please.
Dr. Sneakus?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
A resolution approving the affirmation and disclosure form for the Madison County Family Council.
So moved.
Second. First and a second. Any other discussion? None heard. Roll call, please.
Dr. Sneakus?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
A resolution approving the 2026-2027 biannual sub-grant agreement between the Madison County Board of Commissioners and the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services, the Ohio Department of Medicaid, and the Ohio Department of Children and Youth.
So moved.
Second. First and a second. Any other discussion? None heard. Roll call, please.
Dr. Sneakus?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
All right, if you all want to get some more time.
Oh, in this one. This is fun and exciting. Very offended, guy.
When's Lincoln Day again?
23rd,
Not this week, though.
next Wednesday.
3 weeks to 29.
I'm off RSVP for one. Should I send it?
Make this point then.
Who's the speaker?
What,
3 nights to 29.
Oh, yes.
Speaker.
Dave Yost.
So you're good.
Yes. Week night, the 29th.
Yeah.
You have to call and make reservations.
I didn't make that up.
Seems very low tech. Who I talk to about this?
Night, is that a Tuesday?
I think so. It's been funny, Nick.
A public records request I received this morning
Oh,
that I can't repeat. They're not happy with the criminal case.
I mean, we knew the newspaper was gonna quit. You know, they quit delivering to everybody, you know.
Oh, did she?
What's that?
She did?
Yeah, maybe 3 months ago. So when she announced, she had been there 30 years.
No, I'm sure.
Yeah, when she announced that, it was pretty much inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult.
I get all my news from Facebook. I don't even read the newspaper.
Yeah. No, that's what
I mean,
the,
there's avenues to do it, right? We could put it on our webpage, we could put it on our Facebook page, we could put it on the sheriff's,
All
page.
that is required is public notification,
Yeah.
that suffices, but
Yeah.
if the statute specifically says in a
Newspaper,
newspaper, it doesn't.
yeah.
And
But newspapers were the only thing they had when they made the
Sure.
laws.
so the obvious solution there would be to amend the
Yeah,
statute itself. And we're not talking about one, we're probably talking about 50. But it would devastating to print media. It would probably put those two. So I don't see how legislature making that change.
times have changed.
Yeah, I think maybe the middle ground is to include a provision that if that's not feasible, if that's not an option, then it's.
So what do you think about, I might get it wrong, but the coroner being appointed rather than elected? And one coroner maybe doing multiple counties.
Always been a fan of open elections, the public being able to choose who they want to represent them. I think that's it's a slippery slope when you start picking off individual elected officials, and you could easily, the next time around, make a case for a different position.
Yeah,
Merit-based appointments have been a topic of discussion for years, even in Ohio, including for the judiciary. I think that's dangerous.
well, I think the House, it's in one of the House
It
bills.
is, yeah. It, well, it's subject to abuse, first off. But also, I think maybe more important, it's subjective, you know,
It is.
who's making the evaluation as to who is qualified, who should be appointed, and like I said, I think the decision should rest with the public.
I do too.
Now, that being said, there are difficulties in finding individuals that want to take on that role. That's true for other elected officials. I don't think the answer is appointments. I think the answer is that you make it a coveted position, make it a position, I mean, pay for quality, right? It's too hard to compete with the private sector.
It is.
I mean, it's an advantage to smaller counties, you know, where you can combine 2, 3, 4 counties and have one individual servicing those counties. I see this, some efficiency there.
When a coroner is serving one county, they're already stretched thin. I can't imagine what it would be like for multiple counties.
Well, I'm talking about like southern, you know, where population is pretty small.
I get that, but the problem is
At least that's some of their argument.
when there's a death notification, you don't know at that moment whether or not it's suspicious, whether or not the coroner should be present, whether or not they can make their own evaluation as to whether an autopsy is appropriate. It may be a death, it may not be.
And right now, it's a part-time, I mean, it's not a full-time position, but as needed.
Yeah. I mean, some counties, it's pretty much full time.
Yeah,
Yeah, like Franklin County, with
Yeah.
they're having deaths every other day, you know?
Right, well, we are too, right, but.
No, I mean,
That are
like,
suspicious.
right,
So
that's what I
that
meant by that.
determination needs to be made.
Yeah.
And that's, that's not something
Yeah.
you can always do over the phone.
No.
And that's, I know it was probably about a year ago where the, special fund designating, the resources for the coroner, we move forward with that, and there are deputy coroners that have now been appointed to assist. And that's helpful.
See how it pans out?
And think of how many of those calls are at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Who does the autopsies? For Madison.
It depends on the situation. So, if if a person dies within Madison County, the coroner gets to make the decision as to who conducts the autopsy. When that happens, we choose Montgomery County. If an individual is having a medical emergency within Madison and they're being transported typically to Franklin, and then they're pronounced dead within Franklin County, the Franklin County coroner then gets to make the decision, and they choose the Franklin County coroner's office to perform the autopsy. So it's one of the two.
How many coroners does Franklin County have?
I know they had a lot of turnover within the last 2 years, but I couldn't give you a number.
But all the
On
hospitals.
deputy coroners, yeah, they're performing. That they'll do anywhere from 3 to 5 a day, each individual examiner. And it's typically the next day, you're in the day.
Like Franklin County Treasurer. That's a good one.
Well, that was the reception the other night.
It was quite lovely.
Did you have your picture taken?
It did,
Nice. We should
Supposed to be, yeah.
put that out there.
Mr. Tressel.
Governors.
The governor's coming up, that's in May 1st, this is FCC, right?
No.
Yeah.
You're speaking.
For what?
Yeah. You're gonna RSVP?
I'm in your RSVP. Did the other invite, Andy?
We already did mine, so you don't have to.
That's a long description, I don't think you want that. Okay.
Okay, I didn't get it.
What's happening?
Glad I send that to myself, probably not. Stay the sign, you know, they call you the day before. So they can give me $400.
Things we've been. There's another one. The one in the house. Yeah, you know. Please don't hold me to some dust. It's ridiculous. Nice to have one of those.
Might have brain from 16 to 18.
Well,
I just need to sit there and count.
It's good US currency. Yeah. Why are we gonna do it?
Yep, I'm good at it.
Sheriff's in Key West, Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the guys.
Can we pause?
We can-
Yeah, we can, it's just not the easiest.
It's actually not too bad. I think if I,
Better getting.
is it not there? Yesterday it said stop streaming on my screen. but it wasn't. Film stream, what?